Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I am the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network. And our show today is Talking Heads. In the first of 6 episodes for this topic, I'm going to be discussing how to start your own business here in the United States. Disclaimer, I am not an attorney, I am not an accountant. I am someone who has their own businesses, who left the corporate world, and I'm going to give you tips that I have learned through my own experience. So there's the big disclaimer. So if you're thinking about starting your own business, good for you. It's extremely exciting. There's lots of highs, and of course, there's some lows, and there's always some key learning opportunities as opposed to straight out failures. But there are definitely things that we can learn. And a lot of it starts with our mindset and why it is that we want to start our own business. So whether you're in the corporate world, maybe you're retired, maybe you're a stay-at-home parent and you want to get back out there, what are some of the things to think about? In this particular episode, which is 30 minutes long, we'll be looking at decisions and commitments. In each of the following episodes, we'll be looking at finances, partnerships, legalities, etc. So I also want to state that if you're outside the United States, I don't know what that process looks like for starting your own business. And also depending on which state you're in or where you're opening your business, each state has its different laws. So I can only speak to what I know through my experience. And for anything else, please check with an expert, such as an attorney or an accountant, or both. Okay, the first thing to think about is, what is it you're most passionate about? And why is this important? And some of you might think it's really trite, because you'll be living and breathing your business all the time. It's not like when you're in the corporate world and it's a Friday, for example, and you pack up and you go do whatever you want to do on the weekend and that paycheck comes in. We do love that paycheck. In your own business, you will have to crawl and claw for every dime you get. And I don't mean that in a bad way or to scare anyone, but that's really what it takes. You are the business when you first start out. So the first thing is, what is it you're passionate about? What is it you've dreamed about doing? Now, when it comes to dreams, we also have to have expertise. So, what is it you're good at? Because we don't want to launch into a business that's a dream that we've had, but we don't have any experience. And then we have to bring in other people who have the experience. And when you're first starting out, that's not going to be possible, most likely, unless you're already very well off. So, decision one, what is it you're passionate about? Decision two, how much time are you willing to commit to it? So, for example, when I was in the corporate world, I tried a number of different things as side gigs. And it was easy because I always had the paycheck coming in. So I dabble over here and I dabble over there. I've done a number of things. I've been in cosmetics, I've been in insurance, I've been in retail, I've been in private placements, real estate, you name it. And I've tried it because I'm very curious. I like to learn. And I'm also really interested in getting those gold stars where you take a course and then you get certified. So my point is that when you already have an income, it's a great time to try out some of these things that you're curious about, or even things that you might be passionate about, and see how you feel about doing them. Once you start off doing that, if you already have a job, you can pretty much assess, wow, this is something that I really love to do. So for example, I really loved being a makeup artist. I was a makeup artist on the side for just about 7 years, I think. But what I learned about it was that for my lifestyle, I didn't love it that much that I wanted to be standing for all of those hours in a store and dealing with the public on a one-to-one basis. I give people credit. If you deal with the public every day, that is a tough job. And standing for hours upon hours, that's a tough job. So I was glad that I had my corporate job, because I figured, well, this was fun. It was kind of a hobby, but that's not where I'm really passionate. I have insurance licenses and real estate license, and I dabbled at that. And that didn't ring the bell either. So you want to be ready to commit yourself 7 days a week. And for a while, you'll be working week after week after week. And that brings up the third point. The third point is once you have that passion and once you've explored how much time you can spend, do the people in your life have any issues with you doing it? And why do I bring this up? If you're in a one-on-one relationship with someone, you live with them, you're involved with them, they're going to notice that you are not around. Let's just be honest, because you now have to put your time and your money into the business. So sometimes this can be the end of a relationship. So if you really care about that other person, family members, friends, whatever the case might be, you want to actually have a conversation to say, hey, I'm not really happy doing what I'm doing. I'm going to pursue this. So once you decide on that, you're able to make the commitment that you're going to spend the time. You have to be realistic. The reality check comes in at, do I have a desire for a hobby, or is this really going to be a business? And what's the difference between a hobby and a business? The money. The money coming in, right? So it's okay to have a hobby. We know plenty of people who tinker with cars, or they're into gardening, or they like to bake cakes and they sell them to the neighbors. But is that really a business? Is that going to be sustainable? So that's the next thing to think about, is how passionate are you that you're going to take your time and your money, you're going to have these conversations with other people, and you're going to take this trip to make this into a full-fledged business as opposed to a hobby. When you first start out in your business, it probably is a hobby because you don't have money coming in, and yet you have to put money out. So how much tenacity and stick-to-itiveness do you have when times get tough? Because times are going to get tough. They're going to be tough before they're actually good. So that's what you want to think about. Are you mentally prepared for what may come? Meaning, maybe you think you have the greatest idea in the entire world, but yet no one is ordering from you. No one's buying from you. No one's liking anything you're putting out there on social media. Is your skin thick enough that you can survive that, knowing that you are determined and passionate about what it is that you're offering? So think about all of those things. And once you've thought them over, again, I recommend starting off as a side gig or maybe part-time work. Now you have to look at, where are you going to fund this from? So do you have savings that can keep you going when the times are tough? So I'll share with you right now, I have two active businesses. I have USA Global TV LLC and I have Dr. Jacalyn LLC. These are businesses that are generating revenue. And I personally have put over $200,000 into my businesses. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, what is she talking about? Doesn't she have a podcast? How much money? I can go on Facebook Live and I can do this myself. Yes, you can go on Facebook Live, but you don't have a live broadcasting network like I have. And it takes money. And the money was money that I had set aside. So I was comfortable. I never felt the least bit nervous. I knew I could draw from this money and that I was going to be okay. So when you think about where is the money coming from, also think about wherever it's coming from, is it going to impact anyone else? So is it going to impact your family members? Are you going to be borrowing money? Are you going to be mortgaging your home? How's that going to impact your spouse, your children, et cetera, et cetera? These are all things you have to think about, because not only do they impact you financially, but they impact you emotionally. And as new business owners, we are tested over and over again. So we want to make sure that we're coming from a place of strength. So if things start to go haywire, for example, during the pandemic, think about how many businesses went under. and how many new businesses were started, how many people came up with brilliant ideas of things that we need because we're living and working in a new way. But at the same time, how many people had to close their doors as a result of that? So it's not just losing the money, it's those relationships, those connections, the clients that you've had. These are all things that you have to consider. Which brings me to the next point. The next point is, even though you're just beginning, you really need to have an exit strategy. And you're probably thinking, is she crazy? An exit strategy? I'm just getting on the board. You have to determine before you actually have this thriving business, what do you want to do with this business? You just envision the business is a success, and what that looks like is different for each and every one of us. So start planning from the very beginning. How are you going to get out of this? Meaning, we're all going to die at some point, and maybe our plan is to have this business be a legacy that we're going to leave for our family or for a loved one. Or maybe we are building this business to sell it, or maybe we want to merge with another company. There's all kinds of thoughts about this. So I really ask you to think two things. Think about a strategic perspective as well as a tactical perspective. So the strategic perspective is, you're the eagle flying over your business. And what do you want to do with that business when you don't feel like doing it anymore, or you're not here anymore? What does that look like? The tactical piece of it is where we're working on our business. So some people like to think of it as working in the business or on the business. When we're in the business, this is where we're putting on multiple hats. We're marketing, we're PR, we're sales, we're operations, we're admin, we're doing all of those things ourselves. So think about the exit strategy at the same time that you're looking at the tactical pieces of it. So I know that's a lot. If anyone has any questions or comments that they want to put into the chat, please do. I'm happy to answer any of them. Once you've had these thoughts, conversations, and you're ready to move forward, you need a name. What are you going to name your business? Now, many of us will name it after ourselves or after a loved one or something in our family history. You need to start doing a search to see if that business name is out there. And if it's out there, it might be okay for you to still use that name, but you want to get it trademarked and registered. And if someone else has already done that, that's going to be a problem. So you need to have a search done, whether you do the search yourself or you hire an organization to do it. I actually hired LegalZoom, and I'm not a paid spokesperson, but if they want to send me a check, I'll take it. I've hired them for a number of things already. So I had them search on Dr. Jacalyn. That was the first company that I came up with. And I decided to start that company in, originally it was in Pennsylvania. And then I also filed in Delaware to operate it there and close down the Pennsylvania. But that's all for another lesson. So we'll save that part of it for then. So you're going to come up with a name. You're going to do the search for the name. Now, what is it you are offering? Think about it. You should be able to, if you're getting into that elevator, give your elevator pitch. Hi, I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I blah, blah, blah. So it needs to be very short and concise so that a child can understand what is it that you're offering. Even if it's technology or something very sophisticated, you want to be able to share with the masses what it is that you're offering, because you never know who your next client might be. So you come up with a name, you come up with whatever it is you're offering, and then you need to look at who is your market, who is your audience. And this is where, as entrepreneurs, we get very tripped up. I did it myself. I made this mistake over and over again. Oh, I can be this for everyone. No, actually you can't, because not everybody is interested in what it is you have to offer. So how do I really scale down? And if you think of a funnel, put my ideas in the top of the funnel and have it come through. You need to do some research. You need to do some research on, as my friend Ren Olafin will say, Dr. Google. So you can use Google. There's many search engines. There's so much information that's available to determine different markets, who's out there already, who are your competitors, who are their target audiences, and who do you want to be your target audience. So are you looking to do something a little bit different with what you're offering than what's already out there? Okay, what is that you're offering? You need to be very clear and focused on your particular offering. So typically what I would suggest, I did this myself. I've worked with, I want to say 8 or 9 coaches and probably 5 or 6 mentors through my journey. I left corporate March the 6th of 2020, and I started Dr. Jacalyn LLC actually in 2019 doing life coaching, which is another story. I still do coaching. And then I started USA Global TV LLC last year. I think it was August of 2021. So while I had Dr. Jacalyn, I still have my corporate career. So I was doing some coaching on the side, but it wasn't my primary source of income. And I wasn't fully present or invested in it, if that makes sense. So come the pandemic, now I'm fully invested in both of my businesses. And that's a complete different story. I can't even tell you. I wake up in the morning and I cannot wait to get up here to my studio because I'm so excited, not just for the broadcasting, but all the creative things that I'm also putting out into the world. My writing, my books, my new song that's coming out, the newsletter that I just spent 8 hours on, the Global Post. I just cannot wait to get up here. And as a result, this is something else you want to think about. I have pretty much completely given up my social life. So I had an amazing social life. I belonged to the Union League in Philadelphia. I was at Seasons 52, all these places I was out and about, dressed to the nines. No, not anymore. Now it's me and this green screen behind me. This is where I am. And I just love it. So, my point is that you have a passion for something and you need to bring that out if this is what you're going to be doing full time, because I promise you they are long, long days. I have all these friends on my platform who are on vacation. No vacation here. Haven't had a vacation in years. I look at it as every day is a vacation. And also, when I mentioned about the finances, I was making 6 figures a year for 20, 30 years. Not anymore. So it's all relative, but I've never been happier. And that's what I want for you. So today's episode, as I mentioned at the beginning, is decisions and commitments. They go hand in hand. Being a business owner, as I have mentioned, is so empowering and so liberating. I would never go back to the corporate world. Now, something I want to share with you is I had a great run in the corporate world. I absolutely did. I loved what I was doing. I had the best clients. My employers were phenomenal, but I wasn't feeling well over and over again. And it really was tied to the fact that I wasn't living and doing and breathing what I found passion in. So I bring that up because maybe you can look at your own life. You're thinking about leaving your corporate role. What's the reason behind it? Are you bored? Do you feel like there's no place for you to go? Is it a matter of a dispute you had with someone? You need to really take these things seriously, because once you leave and you invest your time and your money, you're going to find out that you can go back, right? You can go back, but you're not going to like yourself for it. And I'll give an example. In 2020, after I left in March, as I mentioned, my corporate career, I actually contacted my employer in August and I begged them to let me come back. And they said, we're not hiring now. And I thought, wow, I don't know if I can do what it takes. And this was before USA Global TV LLC. So I am so grateful that they told me no. But why did I call them? Because I was afraid. I was afraid because the money wasn't coming. It wasn't like the bank account every other Friday, there's the money. The health benefits, that's a whole other subject we'll talk about on another show. All the benefits, staying at 5-star resorts. I mean, it goes on and on. It's all gone. First class seats in airplanes, bye, all gone. So you have to be fully committed. And I'm so grateful, as I mentioned, that they didn't take me back, because I would have missed out on this. I wouldn't be here right now talking to you on Talking Heads. I wouldn't have 2 #1 best-selling books and a song coming out. And I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you, it's inside. I'm so happy, but I was afraid. And maybe that's where you are. So I want you to, when you think about the decisions, I want you to be really honest with yourself. This could be the greatest chapter of your life. And maybe you're not ready, but you have to have that drive, that determination, and that commitment that no matter what anyone else tells you, you know you're going to make it. And I'll share this with you when it comes to decisions and commitments. Not everybody in your life will want you to change. Not everybody's going to be happy that you are starting your own business. Not everyone's going to love you as much because maybe you're not available. Maybe you're not going to have the cash you used to have that you can spend and do this and do that. And once your business gets going, people are going to throw rocks at you. Every day I get rocks thrown at me. Sometimes I used to feel like I was just going to crumble and fall apart. And now I stand strong. I'm wearing a suit of armor. Bring them on. Throw your rocks at me, because I know there's something in you that's causing you to do that to me, because you're not happy with yourself. But I am happy with me, and you're happy with you when you take this journey to start your own business. So I hope I've shared some information to get you to think about this next step, and to think about what are the pros, what are the cons, how much money do I have that I'm willing to put into this? And when things don't go my way and I don't have the revenue coming in that I need to pay my bills, how will I stand strong knowing the money's coming? I'll leave you with this for the last part of this episode. Success looks different for each and every one of us. I've spoken about money in this episode because, let's face it, you need money to make money. And as an entrepreneur, there will be many opportunities presented to you to buy something, to hire someone, to invest in something. And you will be tempted because you don't have all the answers. You're not an expert in all of these areas. By the time you're finished with your business, you will be, trust me, because you will be in it. If you're a good entrepreneur, you'll know accounting to some degree, marketing to some degree, sales to some degree. And of course, you're going to hire on experts, but you need to know what's going on in your own closet, so to speak. So when people start to present ideas to you, you'll have to weigh the odds. Do I want to get a new website? Do I want to hire a publicist? Do I want to pay for Facebook ads? Do I want to have a subscription model for people to be able to sign up for X, Y, and Z? You won't know all those answers. Other people do, but they will also prey on new entrepreneurs. And what do I mean by that? In my own experience only, is that I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on people who committed to do certain things for me who never delivered. And that's okay. I'm not angry about it, but I learned from it. I learned I needed to do the research so I could do it myself. And as entrepreneurs, sometimes we get heads down like an ostrich instead of being that eagle flying over. That's okay too. You need to know the ins and outs of your business so that you are not going to be taken advantage of by someone else. And then you can bring in other people whom you trust. You can start hiring people. Maybe it's contractors first, and then you start bringing in employees, and then you start to grow the business. But your passion, your dedication, and your commitment cannot waver. So please don't go into having a new business and thinking to yourself, well, I'm going to work a few hours here. I'm going to work a few hours there. I'm going to take off weekends. No, you've got a hobby. Just stick to your hobby. That's great. Keep your paycheck if you need it. Do your hobby. Take up some other activities that make you happy. But maybe being an entrepreneur is not for you at that moment. If you feel that passion, that drive, that desire, it says, yes, 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 I want to be my own person. I want to have my own business. I know it lives and dies with me. and that's okay. That's what it takes. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Here's my contact information if you'd like to reach out to me. I'm available to speak to you about my Talking Heads episodes. I'm also available to speak with you if you're interested in having your own television show, if you are interested in being a co-host on one of my shows, or if you have some other ideas that you'd like to bring to us. That's what it's about. It's all about community, education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Please do go over to our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV, and subscribe. We currently have 29 shows that we're offering, and there's a brand new coming out on Sunday is a new one called Get Off Your Couch. So I look forward to seeing you there at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. British Summer Time. You can find out about all of our shows over on our website and YouTube channel. I'll be back next week with another episode of Talking Heads, and we'll actually dive into, once you have that name, you want to get your company set up, registered agent, all of the legalities that you have to walk through. We're going to look at that. The following episode, we'll look at bringing on mentors, coaches, advisors to help guide us, what that experience looks like. The following episode, we will look at financial decisions, accounting, legal, bringing in these key people to keep us safe and keeping us aware of what it is that we don't know, because there's so much out there that we can't possibly know, but other people do know it. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for your attention, whether you're watching on the live or the replay. I really do appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you shortly on the Listening Mentor, following right after the show. Bye for now.